We're live, Kyle. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the HESN Football Podcast, where we're going to bring you the topics and the inside info on Ottawa football. We try not to really talk about the CFL too much because at the end of the day, there's lots of coverage for the CFL. The pros do that stuff. Where there isn't a lot of coverage is right here, the local football, the grassroots level. We're talking NACAFA, we're talking high school football, we're talking the OPFL, we're talking junior football, all those types of things. That's where we like to live and breathe. And welcome, Kyle. So week 2, man, you got through the first week or first 2 weeks of HESN and being a part of the NACAFA festivities and action. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm starting to really get the hang of it. Put together a bunch of highlights this week. Got to know some of the players' names. Interacted with a couple parents who were really excited to see their kids' highlights, and looking forward to it.
Yeah,
for the rest of the season.
So tell us a little bit. Okay, so let's maybe the first thing. I don't want to jump in here because I know you've got your topics that you want to get to, and you're running the show here. So if you need to cut me off, cut me off. Sure. But let's talk about the live cast.
Yep.
The live stream. That was the HESN live, and we had a 37-0 victory for the Kanata Knights in the first week. But let's talk about like the audio part, the broadcast itself, because a lot of people don't know the insides and outsides. It was quite the experience. We'll save you kind of the gory details, but we had some equipment issues. But you know what? We rallied as a team. This is the first time that we had Dan Mooney in with us. We didn't have rosters to start as the teams were finalizing their team, and basically they didn't know what they were going to have showing up on Friday night either. Right. So having said all of that, our graphic production was at a limit without knowing the players and stuff, but it's going to get better as we go. And I think if I was going to grade that, I'd say as a team, we pulled it together and we did a pretty good job. Yep. We also threw you to the Wolves. Talk about your experience. What were you doing there?
Yeah, so showing up on Friday night to Millennium Field, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going to help out any way I can. And then our producer, Steve, said, "Oh, we're going to put you on the sideline. Here, take this mic, take this clear comm so you can hear what's going on. And, we're going to get you to interview a player and talk a couple times on the sideline." And I was nervous, but got through the game. It was actually really cold that night. I had no idea. It was
freezing,
no idea it was going to be that cold. And I was just standing out there on the sideline in a T-shirt the whole game. But
you know what, though, man? I was really proud of the fact that you just rolled with things. And like football, a lot of times you're thrown into positions that you're not comfortable with, and you got to make do. You know, you got to take lemons and make lemonade, and that's what you did. So super proud of your effort there. In terms of the broadcast itself, I mean, the first one, a lot of people probably don't even know that it was going on. We tried to promote it leading up, but I think we're going to get more views. So I think the actual production itself, if you bear with me, I'll bring up the numbers here. What people that saw that evening were on, and I think it was over 1,000 views.
Yeah, right now I think the video is over 1,000 views on YouTube. You can still check out the full game broadcast or the condensed highlights that we put together.
The fact is, if we just bring this up here, we look at that. We're looking at 1,089 views saw that live game, which is pretty crazy to think about. Yep. You imagine if there's 1,000 people in the stand, like we'd be on the sidelines. It would be literal mayhem.
Yep. So even the amount of people who were actually in the stands, there was at least 100 people in the stands that night as well.
Okay, so you got 100 people watching live, 1,100 people, about 1,100 people watching that game around the city. How special is that to be able to bring this dimension to NACAFA football?
Oh, I think it's great thing for the players and for their families and friends, and plus it's a great recruiting tool. I mean, these players will actually have video to show potential CIS coaches that they want. They can buy our HESN booster, and we can send that video out to all the coaches. And it's just a great thing to sort of bring the community together on a Friday night when there might not be any Red Blacks football or anything else going on. It's something for the families to watch.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what do we got to talk about today, Kyle?
All right, so I got my power rankings here again this week. So if we want to start with the Tyke 6-on-6.
Okay, go ahead, fire it up. Tell us who's number 1.
All right, so the Belair Lions, they claimed the top spot with a win over the Warriors there. Our former number 1 East Ottawa Generals, they took a loss to the Wolverines. And the Warriors and Riders, they lost close games, but they definitely showed some improvement over their Week 1 results, and I hope to see them keep improving over the season.
Okay, so anything notable that we need to talk about at that level?
Not at this level. It's more about just the kids playing the game, getting involved, and learning the basics.
So I haven't been out to a game at that level yet. I can't wait. I love watching those games, and I mean, this is the future of football. So if we're encouraging kids at this level to get involved and have fun, I mean, that's going to be the future football players in Ottawa that are going to be starring on HESN Live one day.
Yep.
So it's super cool to see the guys going, and if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about at that level, let us know.
Yep.
Let us know. Hey, Steve, we got our producer here on as well. Like, Steve, what do you think so cool about that 7, 8, 9-year-old playing sports? Not necessarily football, but just in general, like, what's so good about playing sports at that age?
Well, I find that a lot of the kids still believe that they're going to go all the way. They are going to be the next Walter Payton. They're going to be the next Herschel Walker. They're going to be the next whoever in whatever sport. And that idealistic view of the young person and the parents watching their kids.
So you're kind of showing your age there, Herschel
Well,
Walker.
I was just going to say,
jumping Jesus there.
I thought you were saying I'm showing my age because I'm more into the joy in the kid's heart and the parents' pleasure as they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars. That's the nice thing about what I loved about the broadcast is that it now allows the extended family and friends to see the kids. But as well, a lot of times you come home from games. We've all coached, we've all played, we've all, been involved. You come home and you're trying to explain that game to your wife, to your cousin, to your other kids. And it's really hard, even when we all play games in minor sports that are monumental games.
Oh, yeah.
Not just score-wise, but the way the team comes together and all. And now with the live broadcasts, they can point to a screen and go, well, here, let's watch. Let's watch little Timmy score a touchdown, and that's great because he then gets to share in the celebration. It's a fantastic thing all around, and I really do love the younger sports. The kids get older. I'm coaching a 15, 16-year-old baseball, and the guys now at 16 are driving. They're working.
Yep.
They have girlfriends. A lot more important school. So, we have to make way for it. So you really need to celebrate at younger ages. 50 years.
Steve, our producer, he prefers not to be on the camera. So he's behind the glass. And as the production goes and we start improving it, we'll probably maybe reveal his identity at some point. But
right now, I think he's sitting there with his evil pet cat in the shadows.
Imagine Brad Pitt meets George Clooney.
Yeah, paint the picture.
And then go, what, a 180-degree opposite of that.
So one thing before we do move on, Kyle, is I'm looking at the scores. Warriors 44, Lions 50, a classic West End battle.
Yep.
At 6-on-6, I mean, these scores aren't completely out of control.
Nope. No, I mean, it's great play on both sides of the ball. I mean, yeah, you have the high scores of the Warriors and the Lions there, but...
Well, even the Mustangs and the Riders, 43-42.
Yep. Yeah, they're close games. Even the Wolverines and the Generals there, I mean, it was a bit of a blowout, but still some great ball being played on both ends there.
Go ahead.
All right, so now moving on to the Tyke 10 aside. We had the Knights dominate the Vikings this weekend.
30-6.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Kanata's doing pretty good all around. At Tyke, 30-6, they're putting up points. I haven't seen them in action yet, but you got to imagine there's probably a running back in there and a decent O-line holding the fort.
Yep, and the defense has to be stepping up too. I mean, only allowing 6 points. They got to be doing something right, and kudos to the coaches on that team for setting them up for success.
No kidding. Yeah, they're coaching them up good there in Kanata. What were some of the other games? I see a tie game with the Giants and the Eagles.
Yep, the Eagles and the Giants, they played to a 12-12 tie on a rainy Labor Day Classic here in Ottawa. The weather wasn't ideal for either team, but both teams have to play in it.
So do they go to overtime?
I'm not 100% sure on the rules at that division.
Anyone that's watching this, comment on either the YouTube comments or on any of the other channels, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, Instagram. Let us know. Like, do they go to overtime, or do they just kind of end it and they say 12-12 apiece?
Yep. And then the last game there is the Wildcats and the Raiders. They played to a 32-30 Cornwall win. That was the Raiders' first game of the season. They were on a bye last week. I actually had the pleasure of going to check out this game for a little bit.
Right on. And yeah, you had to pick up a helmet too,
yep,
right?
Yeah, I was picking up a helmet for a future display we're going to have at TD Place, but more on that later.
So thanks, Cornwall, for getting us the helmet. Much appreciated. We're one helmet away, and it's the Giants' helmet. It's not their fault, though. It's my fault. I haven't been able to get out there and pick it up yet. But Raiders 30, Wildcats 32. I noticed the other thing I do have to mention is Cornwall's, the Wildcats organization is really stepping up their social media game.
Yep.
They are reposting the power rankings. They're getting the power rankings and their games recaps written up in the local newspaper in Cornwall. And really do appreciate all the effort you're putting in there. And if we can keep putting this content out, you can just keep retweeting it. And that's awesome that you're doing that. You got sponsors. And hats off to you guys, Cornwall.
And just looking at their uniforms, they look completely professional at all levels for the Cornwall Wildcats. They look identical to the Calgary Stampeders almost.
Oh yeah, they're looking good. The helmets are the helmet that they gave us is like brand new.
Yep.
It's shiny. It's gonna look great on the display.
Yep.
So what else have we got, man?
Next, we're moving on to Mosquito. So we have the Gatineau Vikings and the West Carleton Wolverines hanging on to their top spots.
Okay, all right.
And then we had the Giants impressed with a shutout of East Ottawa. And the Knights and Wildcats win shootouts over the Riders and Raiders.
Wow, man, there's some good games at every level.
Yep, exactly.
If you want to see some great football, get out to some of these games. Unfortunately, we can't stream them all. Maybe one day we'll get there.
Yep.
But I mean, 44-38 with the little guys. I mean, that's some quality football right there.
Yeah, it's very exciting to watch and just to feel the atmosphere of the parents watching as well. I mean, you look at the score of the Raiders Wildcats game in there, and that was 40-30 Kanata.
Yeah.
Cornwall. And when I got to that game, it was 17-0 Cornwall in the first quarter. So Raiders attempted a nice comeback, but unfortunately they just fell a bit short.
Right. Okay. So at this point in the season, heading into week 3. Do we have any indications, like, is it going to be a dogfight right down to the end, or?
Yeah, for the Mosquito Division, I think it is going to be a dogfight. There's about 4 or 5 teams that, on the scoreboard, they look impressive, that they can challenge for the top spot.
Man, we're headed to November. It goes quick this season. You know, football, it's all preparation. There's months and months, and then you're into practice, and before you know it, the season's over, and we're into November, and people are playing for the A Cup and the B Cup, C Cup. That's going to be a fun time.
Yep,
we're not there yet, though.
Well, you think school's just starting for some of these kids yesterday, today, this week. It's that time of year again.
That's right.
All right, next on to Peewee. The top 3 teams stayed the same. We got the Myers Riders, Orleans Bengals, and Belair Lions taking 1, 2, 3 with impressive victories. The Raiders, the Giants, and the Eagles, they all do slip 1 spot each.
Now, talking about slipping at that Pee Wee level, the Bengals 64-0 over the Nepean Eagles.
Yep.
What's going on over there?
Orleans is just a dominant team. I mean, we got Chili out there coaching and being the president of the Orleans Bengals. He's just put together an impressive program, and
they're not messing around over there in Orleans at that Peewee Division.
No, they want to take their title. So
the Riders, both those teams. That's a rivalry that's carrying through the various divisions over the years. Would we be surprised to see that East-West matchup in the A Cup?
I don't think we'll be surprised to see it, but they'll both have to work really hard to get there.
Wow, that's there's a story brewing there. So good job, Bengals, on that victory. Don't know who you guys face next week. I could probably bring it up really quick here. The Panthers,
Cumberland Panthers. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be a good matchup. Cumberland's right in the middle of the pack right now in my power rankings, but Orleans will have another chance to impress, and Cumberland will have a chance for the upset.
Here we go, baby.
Yep. Now, one more special shout out for the Peewee Division is the Bell Warriors.
Right.
We filmed that game. I put together the highlights. They're available on our YouTube channel. Bell won 47-0 over the Rideau Red Blacks, and a special shout out to the 2 linebackers there, Owen Levine and Jeremy Catalusi. Sorry if I mispronounced that, Jeremy, but these 2 guys, they're the defensive core for that team, obviously allowing 0 points, but they also had 3 interceptions combined, and they each had 2 touchdowns, 1 punt return and 1 interception each.
So we've got the highlights playing behind us right now, but there are some players on that Bell Warriors Pee Wee team.
Yep.
They came out, played a great game, and you know what are we going to expect from that Warriors team? Do you think?
After seeing these highlights from the first game the first film I've seen of them, I'm expecting big things. I mean, there's Owen with his first interception there, brought it down to the 5-yard line, and then the very next play, I didn't get the roster, so number 25 here, he just runs it in for the touchdown, and
boom, he truck sticks the guy. You know, it's great to see. There was another image that I snapped that you pointed out, and it was number 10.
Number 10, that's Jeremy Catalusi.
Jeremy Catalusi, he's a big boy. Looks like he's hit a growth spurt, and he's matching up with one of the Red Blacks' smaller players. But I tell you, the mismatch is incredible. But you know, that Red Blacks little defender is getting in there. He's not afraid at all, and that's the spirit, man. I think the caption that I wrote on there was, "It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog." And good job on the Red Blacks for sticking in there tough with the Bell Warriors.
Yeah, kudos to the coaches at Rito. They preach, doesn't matter how big the guy is, just go in, take your tackle, do what we taught you, and most of the time they'll go down.
There you go. There it is.
Yep.
All right, we're moving up to the big boys here.
Yep, here comes the Bantam power rankings. And the Cumberland Panthers, what can you say? I mean, second straight shutout, 59-0 over Myers Riders this week. They've scored 111 points. They haven't had a single point allowed against them.
You know, the Panthers Bantam team is an interesting little case study for the league right now, because there's some pretty high-profile players on that team that have kind of sat out football for a year or two. You know,
Christian Vilya.
Yeah, Christian, the quarterback. You know, he's been phenomenal in the summer OVFL leagues. Decided not to play OPFL this year. You know, has ambitions to go to the United States, which is great, absolutely great. It's just, I don't think it's clear the best way to get kids down there at this point. You know, a lot of people, lot of controversy on that issue, and what kids should be doing if they do have aspirations of going down to the South. You know, it has worked in the past with a few kids. Probably 90% of them pop back up eventually and end up on a U Sports roster. But you know, how can you not encourage a kid if they have those aspirations? How do you not help them get down there?
If they want to go down there, then I say give it a shot. But you also have to remember all the programs that are down in the States. I mean, you look at the programs in Texas, you look at the programs in South Carolina, and all the other sort of outlying regions where there are big youth football programs.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're not the only ones playing football here.
That's right. And, you know, the fact that states, the big powerhouse states like Florida and California, they had, the weather is on their side. I mean, we can't play. You know, we have to be in domes, and same for baseball, right? Steve, you chip in there with baseball. I mean, how do you compete when you can play outside 12 months of the year?
Right. Not only that, given the nature of football, it's you know, intrinsic fabric of the United States, and their 300 million estimate, we're 30 million estimate. They're 10 times our size. It's their national sport. I mean, well, that and baseball. I always say when kids want to race down there and you know, try to make their mark, it's always a sad realization that sometimes it might be better to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, you know, and make a bit more of a splash if you want to get noticed. Give yourself a chance to fill out a little bit.
Right. And you know, along that lines, this probably is going to be a topic that will come up again and again. And this is a good one for the off season when kids are starting to think about what they should be doing, spending their time. You know, is it training? Is it bulking up? Is it working on skills with elite trainers? Is it or is it just playing the damn game? You know, there's a lot of lessons that you can't learn in a camp. Right. And part of that is being a good teammate and those life lessons that football teaches you that I hate to say it, but some kids maybe are missing. And they're missing the best part when you look back as an adult on this game. But we'll probably have some guests to talk a little bit more about that. You know, we won't harp on that for too long, but as an adult that's now back in the game, I do think that there is a little bit of a drain that comes with that. And we like to see our coaches that live here in Ottawa contributing to the leagues that are here, you know, instead of trying to go and build something outside of it. Why don't we just make what we have better? So there's something to be said about that. If you want to hear more about that, let us know if this is a hot topic that you guys want us to unpack a little bit more. But moving on, Kyle, keep us on track here.
All right, so next we got the midget power rankings. They just played their first games of the season, and we had, as you saw on our live stream, Kanata defeated Orleans 37-0. Belair opened the season with a shutout win over the Giants. And the Myers Riders, playing their first game in the midget division, surprised the Eagles 10-7.
So let's talk about that Belair two-time defending midget championship team.
Yep.
Tony Valente is the coach there, and man, that guy runs a tight ship. You know that if you go to Belair, you're going to be well coached, and
Yep.
you're going to have a disciplined team. They're the powerhouse in the West. You know, what did you see from the Giants team? There's been a lot of talk about this Giants team with big numbers. There's some big names on that team.
Yep.
You know, the quarterback Oliver, who many of you know won the A Cup at Bantam last year, defeated my Bell Warriors that I was coaching. That was a good game though, man. But their firepower just overcame us in the end with Hamlin and Oliver. But he's quarterback again after I would say possibly an all-star performance and a championship on the provincial level. He's now back playing quarterback.
Yeah, that was some great experience for Oliver. And now when I was watching the highlights of this game, the score wasn't indicative of how dominant Belair was. The Giants, they put together some good drives, but just couldn't cap them off with any points.
That's right. And a very unfortunate injury. I got to shout out to my boy, Tyler Broman, playing running back number 9 for Belair.
Yep.
Had a pivotal interception towards the end of the game in the championship last year. Almost took it back to the house. You know, we need to check on his status, but it's just kind of an unfortunate play where it was actually a great run. He reversed field, spun in the backfield away from pressure, and then kind of cut up through the middle, but somebody kind of tackled him from behind, and his knee just kind of went the wrong way. That's a big loss for that team.
Yep,
that's an 18-year-old.
Yep.
So, an 18-year-old on that team. So you're losing a leader in the locker room, a guy that's been playing football probably since he was 7 years old, I think. What is that going to do? You know, do they have on these short rosters at midget? Do they have the ability to replace a guy like Tyler Broman?
With the coaching staff that's in place there, I think they'll be able to. I mean, it's almost a system where you can plug anyone in and they'll have a chance to succeed if they put the work in.
Now, the quarterback was pretty impressive as well. Pretty mobile guy on Belair.
Yep. Yeah, he put together a couple good runs, and it was impressive to watch.
I'd like to see that offense kind of, even though it's a 4-down game, I'd like to see them move the pocket with him.
Yeah.
You know, try to anticipate where the pressure's coming and move away from that and make the defenses move with him, because that guy can run.
Yep.
The other thing that I noticed on defense is I think it's Liam Paquette, number 2, who's obviously fresh off of OPFL with the Sooners season. This kid, we've been watching him since he was in Peewee, and phenomenal football player.
Yep.
So you can't coach that kind of aggression. He's back there at the safety position. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't had a chance to really get into the rosters too much, but
yeah, a couple big tackles for Liam there to again stop the Giants' drives.
I think the first play from scrimmage, it was a pass, and he made his statement.
Yep.
With a stamp in one of those receivers.
Yeah.
So what is that Giants team going to do? I saw a public statement by Jeff Woodhouse, the president of the North Gloucester Giants, say, you know what, very proud of his team after week 1, even though they recorded an L on the column. He said, watch out. Believe me, we'll be one of the last teams standing at the end of the year. So they're a very confident bunch there.
Yep. Well, with only a 6-team division, I mean, you get to play each team a couple times, I believe. So it's going to be a dogfight, even with the likes of Kanata and Norseman getting shutouts in week 1. Who's to say those results will be the same come November when the championships are being handed out?
I don't know. I mean, the one thing I saw from the Knights, which was really, really great, was that 37-0. What a difference just a couple of boosted players on a team can make.
Yep.
We're talking about Jared Valentino, won the B Cup last year at Peewee. Now he's thrust into the midget league with the age changes, and he's leading that team like a wily veteran.
Yep.
Phenomenal arm. We got some text messages while the stream was going on, and some comments like, Valentino, what a player.
Yep.
And he is, man. And now he's got some weapons in Ogilvy, who was the player of the game. Connor Ogilvy ripped it up at number 11 there.
Yep.
Matt Lachance, another slotback, number 85, that they kept running on the jet sweep.
Yep, and they did the punt where he was standing onside and got the touchdown.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. So, I mean, they've got some weapons, number 89 as well. Defense, a kid that really stuck out in my mind, number 52.
Yep.
Looks like his body type looks like a Lake Corte Moore.
Yep.
And a guy that the name, hasn't really hit my radar until Friday night.
Yep.
And this kid has the frame to play at the next level, and the aggression, and he looks good. So this Kanata team, it's great to see that Kanata has an actual contender in the midget division, because they have been horrible for the last few years. And I say that with nothing but respect, but Kanata needs to have a good program at midget. There's no excuse not to have a good program at midget. And the fact that they're relevant now and they're going to be able to give the Norsemen a run for their money.
Yep.
Man, things are heating up.
September 30th is that matchup, I believe. So we'll be excited to watch that one. And you mentioned aggression on Kanata's defense. Number 7, Reggie Raphael.
Right. Number 7, he was all over the place.
He was all over the place. He got a couple of big hits and I believe forced a fumble in the first quarter there.
Now, what did you see at the Eagles-Riders game? I haven't had a chance to look at that game yet.
It was a very close game. Both defenses came to play. The Eagles, I believe he was a running back, number 7. He reminded me of Michael Vick, the way he was running around.
Okay, as a running back.
Yep.
So low-scoring game. So,
Yep.
I mean, week 1, what are you going to do? The offenses are always typically come along a little bit slower than the defenses. But once again, we've got some competition in the midget division. This is what we wanted.
Yep.
So awesome to see.
I'm excited for this upcoming weekend. We got Myers playing the Norsemen.
Norsemen,
Yep.
man.
Can't wait to see the highlights from that one.
Okay, well, it's time to show up or shut up at the midget division. We don't know exactly what HESN Live is going to do next, but we are working on it in the background. Maybe what do we want to talk about? The big events that unfolded in the OUA this weekend.
Yeah, we got a couple Ottawa-born players. For anyone who watched the Ottawa U Queens game, it was a very exciting finish with Jackson Bennett, former Orleans Bengal, running a kickoff back 99 yards for the game-winning touchdown.
Unbelievable. I was watching that on the OUA.TV stream. I was working in the office. I had it on the computer behind me, and as the game started to wind down and things got closer, we tuned in, and man, Jackson Bennett, what can you say about this kid?
Yep.
Very, very highly touted in the CFL. Now, going back to our topic about what kids are doing and going to the United States, Jackson Bennett, in my opinion, is an example of a guy doing it maybe not the right way, maybe not the wrong way.
But he's doing it his way.
He's doing it his way, and he's doing it the Canadian way.
Yep.
This kid grew up playing for the Orleans Bengals organization, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. He won the midget championship against the last year that the Nepean was the Redskins. And I think under Ron Raymond's offense that year, he was by far the best player on that team, and he rushed in the championship for, I would say, over 400 yards.
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance. I mean, he was on a whole nother level compared to any other player on that field that day.
And we knew that kid was going to do some damage. He goes and signs a deal with Ottawa U, goes to school there, and within the first year, we know that this kid's going to be one of the star players at the GG's program.
Yep.
They switch him from running back to defense, and he's just an all-around football player. But this is a kid that is going to make pros. He's going to be in the CFL, and he did so by going through the Canadian system, and I think we have to pay respect. I think a lot of kids these days are thinking that the OUA is a second option, or the CIS, and they don't understand how good of football that is, and it's getting better every year. And I personally, as a guy that played in the OUA, I'd like to see us build our fans up here and develop our own game.
Right. Yeah, looking at that, it should be built up more. I mean, you look at all the schools that don't have professional teams in their city, like a team like Queens or a team like McMaster.
Laval.
Yep, Laval. And they have great programs, but they're never shown enough.
Right.
Fans might not know what's going on there until the Vanier Cup or the Yates Cup or the UTEC or the Mitchell.
So one thing I will say, if you are interested in being a fan of U Sports, CIS, there's one show you got to check out. Check out Jim Mullen. Jim Mullen does the Crown Countdown U show on YouTube. He's gotten it onto the radio. He's gotten it onto Global even, I think, a few TV stations. They're based out of Vancouver, and they do a phenomenal job recapping and the U Sports, what's going on. They go conference to conference. They recap it. They have ex-OUA guys chipping in. They have guest appearances. from notable players that have done well in there, and I look at him as being a real visionary. I love what you're doing. Shout out to Jim Mullen and his crew at KCU.
Yep. Just a couple shout out to some more players who born and raised in the Ottawa area. Guelph linebacker Riley Baines, he was in on 10 tackles over Western. And then Western offensive lineman Dimitri Pronko, he held the Guelph defense to only 1 sack. So
wow.
Pretty good offensive lineman down there in Western.
Hey, man, between Curly Gittins Jr., Jackson Bennett, there's so many guys that have come through the Ottawa system that, if you're a coach watching, you played a very, very big role in the development of these kids. And that's what has to kind of fire us up as guys that have kind of aged out, and we still want to give back into the game. What HESN's trying to do, just to have a shameless plug, is we're trying to create other opportunities. If you come back as a player that went on to CIS, maybe went on to pro, you're coming back to Ottawa and you want to give back to football in Ottawa. NCAFA is the place where you come back to. You can have 5 divisions to chip in and coach. We're always able to take more people. Now HSN's adding a media side to the participation, and we have opportunities like the role that you've stepped into. We want to create more. So the way that you can help us by watching this is if you do want to highlight for your son, we offer highlight boosters, where basically if you're on the Huddle system or you're filming your own games, you give us the clips and we'll boost that thing out, and it's only $50. That helps put some revenue into the business so that we can do more of this sort of stuff.
And if you check out the HESN website, we'll give you $10 off right now.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Coupon code that will be available for a limited time. We'll give you $40 to do a highlight booster. If you want a full highlight and the game's filmed, just contact us at HESN and we'll work something out. And we're also hoping to open up the HESN live broadcast to people wanting to get into the media side. So maybe some color, maybe some play-by-play announcing, all these sorts of things, camera work, production. There's so many opportunities. We're really excited to bring that HESN live dimension to the league. And at the end of the day, NCAFA is where it all started for you and for me and for hundreds and thousands of other kids. And we like you to come back and be a part of NCAFA. We'll always have a place for you when you come back to Ottawa and you want to give back. I don't think I've ever thought about SRB, where I went to high school, one other time since I walked out those doors. So high school just cannot compete in the same way of a football community. And that's my 2 cents on the thing. And I'd love to hear what you think about it.
And at least you went to a high school that have football. I went to Brookfield, and we had a program there for the first 2 years I was there, but then they axed it. So
and that's what happens is basically NCAFA steps up whenever high schools trash their programs and they leave. NCAFA steps in and provides football in those areas so the kids can play the game. So we're always kind of just filling in for the high schools whenever we can, and but we also want to build our programs better, and I think that midget league is on its way to becoming and taking over the top spot for football for the 16, 17, and 18-year-olds in the city.
With HESN Live, we will become the top premier destination for midget-aged players.
It's happening already. Guys like Valentino coming into the league. Other players, there's a few Giants guys like Oliver. The fact that they're not playing at other places, that is helping build that program and the credibility there. We're going to be introducing stats. We're trying this year, but I think next year is probably a little bit more realistic for statistics. We're going to redo the website next fall. We're really going to bring a professional dimension to Ottawa football. And if you're playing in NCAFA, it's a great place to get recruited to try out for the summer provincial programs, if that's an interest for kids.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the coaches who are in NCAFA also coach in the OPFL. So that's right. There's that dynamic there that can help get you noticed.
Absolutely. And the other thing I'll just say on that last topic that is something that isn't widely talked about is a lot of the high school programs that offer football, these are teachers. So they almost have an unfair advantage, right? Where the kids you have over 2,000 kids come into your school every day and probably taking your gym class. And how hard is it to put a football team together and get guys rallied around when you're with them 8 hours a day?
Yeah, that's pretty easy, especially when you start the fall program with Sure, let's play touch football. Let's see who's who.
Right. And, so the fact that we can, what I'd like to see is there's a lot of phenomenal coaches at the high school level in Ottawa. Blaine Scatchard is one of them, and he's now working with Lee Barrett in Football North, where they're taking kids down to the States to play. And I know nothing about, I know it's not a league. I think it's exhibition games. It's a cool experience because there's quite a few fans and they're down in Ohio playing games. But, I would be interested to see what Blaine could do if he was given a midget team.
Yep.
Could he recruit enough kids to get a team, and could he win a championship? That'd be a nice challenge. I challenge you, Blaine, to do that. And also St. Matt's Jean. Jean has been great, building an awesome culture, and he does a lot for the kids. You can't take anything away from a coach like Jean, but I will say I'd like to see how you did putting together an Orleans Bengals midget team.
Yep. Yeah, challenge out to you guys.
So anything else that we want to talk about here?
I think that's about it for this edition.
All right. Well, this has been episode 2, or we're actually running the 17 if you count the other years. We're just going to keep a rally toll. Couple of feedback. Let us know what you want. Do you want this to be live so that you can do a live chat? Do you or people working and you kind of have to watch it on your own time? Our kids in school, can you watch this? If you want it live, we can make it so. If you want a highlight booster, please visit hesn.co to get your $50 booster. If you want to support the podcast, or you know of a business that needs advertising and wants to advertise on the live streams, HESN Live, on the podcast, we have lots of opportunities where we're looking for partners in the community to help us promote and encourage and inspire kids through youth sports and new media. And until next time, I'm Jesse Card, and this is Kyle Ball.
Yep.
Peace.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week.